Okay, so let's talk about why there's a mass exodus going on right now in the church. Well, I can talk about from my perspective of why I left as a pastor, a former chaplain in the U.S. Army. I retired, so I didn't leave while I was doing that, but I did leave just within the last couple of years. I think starting since COVID, because I was really getting tired of the same circular stories. I mean, if I read about Noah's Ark, or I heard preaching and teaching about Noah's Ark and Genesis and Paul one more time, I think I was going to lose it. And I had even presented the topics of let's try to dig deeper into the word to my church that I was going to. And let's discover some of these untold Bible stories. And it was like, nah, we can't do that. And I realized later that there was a bigger hierarchy that was involved in that. But that's neither here nor there. We'll talk about that in a second. But the two other bigger points were that I not only was I not being fed to a point where it was evoking much of a spiritual difference or a change, like we just weren't digging into the depths and hearts, and the stories just weren't connecting. And now that I've been reading the Ethiopian Bible and the Nag Hammadi scriptures, it's filling in a lot of the details and the backstory that I knew in my heart that I felt were missing. And then the other one was I was not seeing a real change in the community. It felt like a social club. It really felt like, a bunch of PKs who were very cliquey, who got together, and that was just their social circle. Like they weren't even taking the gospel serious. And then a lot of them were still gossiping. Pastors were caught in infidelity. I went to several churches back to back where pastors had infidelity cases. And then I wasn't seeing enough of the results of the actions of the church replicated in the community, meaning we're bringing in all of this tithes and offering, and not only are people inside needing help and support financially, emotionally, they weren't providing any psychological care, which in my field, that's crazy to me, but they weren't showing up in the community. I'm like, why do we have this much homelessness, these many people on WIC and food stamps, and we have a full body, we have a church on every corner? It just wasn't making sense to me. So I can understand, but I can understand why people are leaving the church, but I would never throw the baby out with the bathwater. Do not lose your faith. Do not lose Jesus, because there is more to the story. Please pick up those books. Hear me out. I hope you hear me. I know that there's a lot of creators on here who are just only promoting, get rid of church, deconstruct. I like to call it reconstruction. So hopefully that's helped you. Don't leave Jesus out, okay? That's key.